You're up awfully early. If you find yourself having to burn the midnight oil, give DeLuna Coffee's Midnight Shift a shot. This blend is pure Pensacola. DeLuna Coffee, in conjunction with the Pensacola Police Department, created this medium dark roast to make sure the city is caffeinated. A portion of every bag of Midnight Shift sold is donated to the Raleigh Foundation for Childhood Cancer Research. Try it or one of their over 24 blends and get a discount when you use the promo code WARCHANT15. Visit DeLunaCoffee.com and check out their Facebook and Instagram.
From Tally to Cali,
it's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up! Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, fueled by DeLuna Coffee.
Coffee's for closers only.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
and Corey Clark.
Wake up! What's up, everybody? It's Wake Up Warchant, fueled by DeLuna Coffee. DeLunaCoffee.com. Come explore our world of coffee. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Promo code WARCHANT30. Use it. Profit. Prosper. All that good stuff. Listening to us on YouTube, thank you. Hit that thumb button in the northern direction, pointing upwards. That means you like the video. That's pretty cool. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's totally free of charge. And if you are listening to us on iTunes, awesome. Glad you found the updated feed. If you are still listening to us on maybe a different platform because you're like, hey, you guys aren't on Apple Podcasts any longer. We are. Just go on your Apple Podcast app, search for Wake Up Warchant. You'll see 2 results. Tap on the one with the DeLuna Coffee logo on it and subscribe to that one, and you should be good to go. Corey Clark, back in the Hassie. You good to go, champ? Welcome back.
I am good to go. Thanks for asking, man. Yeah, I'm ready. I'm fired up. I'm ready for this.
Very good, very good. This is going to start being like a common occurrence as I likely begin transitioning out of the Midtown offices into a new facility. I'm going to be looking for good help. Need a window guy this week. No, need you urgently. Need a good window guy. Corey, you know a good window guy? If you don't, if you're out there listening, you're a good window guy, you know a good window guy, let me know. Your guy needs a good window guy. How was the trip back from Atlanta, Corey?
It was beautiful. Great weather. Not a cloud in the sky. Listen to the Braves score 1 run again.
Let's go.
On XM, they're killing it. They scored 3 runs the whole weekend and went 0-3. That was it's fun to watch. Major League Baseball's just got a wonderful product, man. Braves played 28 innings. They scored in 2 of them, both on home runs, and they struck out 37 times. So, good stuff. But nobody wants to hear about the Braves.
If you were the czar of baseball, what would you do, Corey? I'll give you like 3 minutes to explore the space.
No, I wouldn't do that. I would move I was talking about this with some buddies on Saturday night, watching that incredible Final Four game.
Oh, man. Wow.
Not the first one. That was an abomination. By the way, so when I talk about luck and matchups and this and that, Houston didn't play a ranked team all season. All season.
Ranked? They didn't play one top 25 team.
Not once the entire season.
They had their path to the Final Four was
the easiest ever. Yeah. And then they go and get humiliated's too strong a word, but they got housed by a much better team. And it's like, okay, did Houston have a better season than Florida State? Like Florida State would have done that exact same thing and might have had a similar record played in the same conference. So much of the NCAA tournament, my point was, so much of the NCAA tournament is really about draws and luck, and maybe somebody beats somebody. Like if Michigan could have lost, Houston just didn't have to play anybody good until the Final Four when they played somebody great, and that step up in competition exposed that they were just an okay team. Pretty good team, not okay, they're better than that. Pretty good team, like Florida State was. And it's just sometimes it's just a matter of luck, and it'd be nice if Leonard Hamilton started getting some luck in the NCAA tournament. But you know what also, Aslan? You make your own luck, don't you?
I think so. You got to ride the hot hand, find guys that step up. I mean, UCLA, what I felt so bad about for them was like the way they beat Alabama. I think Juzang fouled out in the second half of that game, and then obviously Alabama hits that half-court shot or so to send it to overtime, but then UCLA just gets right off the mat and knocks them back in the mouth and play so hard. And then in the Gonzaga game, they tie the game up, obviously, in overtime. They fall behind early, but they get right back off the mat. Like, you don't get all the breaks, man, even though, you can kind of ride some luck here and there. But, UCLA did not get all the good breaks the entire tournament. But they, found ways to overcome these things, which is why I always get upset when people talk about, referees and blaming everything on, they won't let the guy play. What is he supposed to do? It's like, hey, I don't know, man. UCLA found a way with their best player on the bench to freaking roust Alabama in the Elite Eight. So, but yeah, and then to see them lose in that way, just not even fair. It's not fair. It's not fair. I can't.
Man, but it was. It's awesome. It sets up an incredible. I think they said it's the first time the top two seeds have played each other in national championship games since '05.
Okay.
I think is what they said. Like, this never happens, and these two have been. And I think the last time that two teams played in the national championship game that were ranked in the top three all season in the polls was like 1960 with Oscar Robertson at Cincinnati against Ohio State. Like, this just does not happen. We have by far, in my opinion, the two best teams all season getting to play for a championship. It's pretty cool, man. It doesn't usually happen like this in the tournament, so that's exciting. But yeah, going back to baseball real quick, I was telling my buddies, you just got to move the mound back. You got to move the rubber back a foot. You just have to. It's just incredible, man. Like, literally everybody. The Braves had a reliever that throws 100. The Phillies started a guy on Saturday that throws 100. They all throw 100, and there's no way that Abner friggin' Doubleday, when he was inventing these dimensions, or whoever invented baseball, I know there's speculation that he really didn't. He just got credit for it. But whoever invented it, there's no way when they came up with that 60 feet 6 inches, they're like, yeah, man, people are going to be throwing it, as fast as a train, a speeding locomotive. Like, no, but they couldn't even fathom that it would be 100 miles an hour. So I think, they lowered the mound in 68. It's just, it makes baseball's got to do something, man, because it's just hard. It gets harder and harder to watch. There's so little contact. And the Phillies struck out like 37 times. So you had a series with two major league teams where they struck out, the best hitters on the planet struck out a combined 80 times in 3 games. That's
not good.
That's almost 3 full games of not putting the ball in play. That's 1.5 games of not putting the ball in play. For 81 outs, which is what that is. I mean, it's just, I hope they do something. I just hope they do something because I want to watch hitters again. I like batting averages. It's always either a home run or nothing. So anyway, or maybe I'm just saying that because the Braves can't score.
Maybe.
But I did hear Theo Epstein, who now works for Major League Baseball. I heard him on a podcast talking about that. They're doing all these other different rule changes. Like, I guess in Double-A, all the infielders have to be on the dirt. In Single-A, you can only throw 2 pickoff attempts. In the third one, if you try a pickoff attempt, you either get them out or it's a balk to the same runner. So, like, they're trying all these things to help.
I'm in for that.
I'm in for most of it. I think it's neat. I think the extra inning rule is dumb, starting with a guy at second. That just doesn't make any sense that they're still doing that. But overall, man, it's just everybody on every team throws 100 miles an hour. And the only people that get paid are the only people that make a roster now are guys that can hit home runs. And so you got a bunch of free swingers, not shortening up with 2 strikes. I know I sound like the old man, but, man, it's 25% of every game are strikeouts. When we were growing up, it was like 14 or 15%. And it's just fun to watch balls put in play. It's fun to watch triples and double plays and doubles and stolen bases. And all that's just completely gone, and it's really hard to hit. And as a dad of a future major leaguer, I want him to be able to hit.
Yeah.
What are they going to be throwing when Brady's 25 years old? Are they going to be throwing 106? Like,
yeah, those kids will have their first TJ surgery when they're like 13. So by the time they're 24 in the bigs, they'll just be having cyborg arms.
It'll be like Rookie of the Year. They're just going to keep breaking kids' arms, and it's going to come back where the kid can throw 110. And it's just like I wish they'd help. Like, the NBA came up with the 3-point line, right? And then it became too easy, so they moved it back a little, and they moved it back a little more. Like, it's okay to say, look, this isn't good. This isn't a good product. Let's at least try it in the minor leagues instead of 60 feet 6 inches, 61 feet. See if that makes a difference. Then 62 feet, and just see what that makes a difference. But anyway, let's go to Florida State. But that would be what I would do. You have to make something easier for the hitters because it's just everybody throws so hard. When I was growing up, there were 2 people that threw in the high 90s. Nolan Ryan and Rob Dibble. That was it. Yeah. Now literally every major league team has 8 of them.
It's funny. I think a basketball fan listening to that would say they probably need to bump back the 3-point line. And then you think about football and just how absolutely ridiculous the athleticism is on a football field now. But in terms of like the rules and the size of the field and everything, like that's staying pretty steady, and it hasn't really hindered.
I was thinking about that, yeah, and I do think they should move the 3-point line back a little bit. Whatever you can do to stop them taking so many threes, because that's all the NBA is now. Every team shoots 35 to 40 threes a game. Major League Baseball, it's just swing for the fences. You either home run, you walk, or you strike out. And but football, yeah, it's like they've kept the same dimensions other than move the. I mean, it's just crazy. They had the goalpost in the front of the end zone. Right. I mean, that's incredible. They did that for a long time, for decades.
Imagine all the rub routes. Imagine all the rub routes you could do now with the field goal post, like the stanchion right there. You know,
and you just lob it over the goalpost. The defender's going to run into it, and you just. I mean, it's perfect. You just use it. It's like an illegal screen. It's just crazy. Whoever thought of that. I mean, I wish we had a meeting. Like, there's got to be some sort of story, article, or documentary on the guy at the NFL and whatever it was, 1966. It's like, you know what? Why don't we just move it back 10 yards? Why don't we move it to the back of the end zone? Because it keeps getting in everybody's way. But yeah, that aha moment. Like, you know what, Gene? That's not a bad idea. And there's also the guy that was dubious. Like, come on, Gene. Nobody's going to go for that. This is football. It's supposed to be in the middle of the playing field. So, all those decisions happen over time. So hopefully baseball will figure something out. And that segues us into Florida State baseball because, again, they nice series this weekend.
Yes,
they won 2 out of 3. In the first 2 games they played, though, they struck out a lot because that's college baseball now. And all 7 of their runs came via the home run. Which is just kind of what baseball has become now. But even still, you need to be good at it if that's what baseball has become. And they seem to be I don't want to say they're finding their stride, but that was a nice win, especially pitching after coming back from that, not a debacle necessarily, but a really poor showing against Wake Forest. For that pitching to bounce back and give up what they give up? Like 5 earned runs the whole weekend?
Yeah, they shut him out on Sunday, and then Saturday was walk-off. What was it, 4-2?
4-2.
I don't remember what Friday night was, though.
And Friday night they lost 4-3. But I thought at least 2 of the runs were unearned. So maybe they just gave up, 3 earned runs over a weekend.
Yeah. No, they look good, man. They definitely look good. And for the fact they lost on Friday night and bounced back Saturday, Sunday was very encouraging. Nander, again, with a walk-off on Saturday, bottom of the 9th inning. That was super cool. And then Sunday, though, man, I think they had 6 hits maybe. There was a lot of wild pitches. I mean, literally like 4 wild pitches. They scored, I think, on 2 of them. Lots of walks, a couple hit by pitch. So, they did it kind of not the old-fashioned way, but not the conventional way. And then Elijah Cabell hit another 3-run home run on Sunday because apparently that's what he does now. His power is ridiculous. They're now 10-3 in their last 13 games. I think he's hit a home run in 5 of his last 6. And when he hits them, go and listen to the Mike Martin interview, the Mike Martin Jr. interview after Sunday's victory. It's up on our YouTube channel. Maybe even listen to the one on Friday night, like after they lost. Like, he speaks about him in such reverent tones. It's crazy. But he's just
he said what that is. He said that his power is legendary.
Yeah.
Like, for the people that don't know, the Major League Scouts, for whatever reason, I think I've talked about this before, their grading scale only goes up to 80.
Yeah.
They decided, you know what, we're not going by the traditional rules. We're not going to 100. We're going to go to 80. So
no
the highest
perfect, Corey. No one's perfect. There's
no
10s out there. There's no 10 out of 10s. There's no 10s, everybody.
But the highest you can be graded on anything, like it's power arm, power at the plate, speed. Like Deion Sanders was an 80. They graded him as an 8. I'm sure. I mean, maybe there was a scout that's like, I've seen faster. I saw Ty Cobb. He's whatever. But Deion Sanders would have been an 80 on the speed scale in Major League Baseball. Well, that's what Mark Martin Jr. said about Elijah Cabell. Like, on the power scale for college baseball hitters, prospects for the Major League Baseball draft, he is an 80. You just do not hit it like he does. He might be. Well, yeah, man. I think he hit against Pitt. I think he had one against Pitt, maybe. I think he hit. They measured it on their little stat track thing, the track system, at 490 feet. And I talked to Meat the next day, and I'm like, is that true? He's like, yeah, it was 491. I mean, and I don't know we don't know what they were measured these last 2, but the one he hits is dead center. I think that was last weekend. The 2 he hit this weekend, man, they're not wall scrapers, and they're not Dick Hauser home runs. I mean, they're home runs that would be out of any park in America. He's got some things he's got to work on, clearly. He strikes out still every other at bat. But man, when he hits them, they go. I don't know. I've only been covering Florida State for 12, 13, it's a pretty long time. But I've been covering Florida State baseball since Buster's last year. So 2008. There's never been a kid that hits it as far as Elijah Cabell since I've been covering Florida State. And that includes Buster Posey.
And yeah,
he's not the hitter that Buster Posey is, but nobody has this power, man.
Yeah, somebody was dropping old 90s guys, and it's like, yeah, man, he probably would hit that far with that BB Core bat himself, but he doesn't have the stick they used back in the day. But yeah, man, he's that's been fun to watch that kind of come around. So a big weekend. They've got Jacksonville on Tuesday. Carson Montgomery will go in that one. Then they're heading to, I think, number 7. I think they're ranked 7th currently, Louisville. So that'll be a really big series. Would have been really cool if they would have had a baseball series at home this coming weekend while they had the football game going on, the spring game, 5 p.m. It's game week, Corey. But I don't know. Again, there's never really been a good answer given to anybody about why they stopped doing that. Because I think, like, if you look at the top attendance in, like, Dick Hauser history, I think it's the 2008 series against Miami, I think is up there. And I haven't checked it, but I could almost assure you, I can almost guarantee you there's probably because there's a spring game going on that weekend too. Because man, they've had super regionals.
Because I wasn't in town. I hear what you're saying, but I don't think so because I wasn't in town covering that, and I would have been in town for the spring game in '08. So I don't know why I wasn't in town, but I remember following along on our blog at the Tallahassee Democrat. And also there was a brawl at the end of that Game 3 on Sunday.
By the way, Game 3 of the Louisville game will be on ESPNU.
There we go.
In case you're wondering about that, folks. I should have had this ready at my disposal. Didn't realize you were going to check me on it. I like it, though, Corey. I like it. Way to keep me on my toes.
I think Miami was number 1. Florida State would have been top. It was 2 top 5 programs. I mean, they were loaded with maybe Buster was the only player on that team that actually made it to the majors. But, you know, they had Weeks. They had Yonder Alonso, I think. Miami did. They had a few Major League Baseball guys. And I think Miami won the first game, Florida State won the second, then Miami got up huge in Game 3, and Florida State came back to within 1, like 10-9 or 11-10. But they had the curfew because Miami had to get on a plane, and they couldn't get on a plane past like 4 o'clock. So they called the game after 7 or 8 innings. Something like that.
I got to look this up, man. Will I be able to find the date of the 2008 Florida State spring football game on the internet? Florida State, nope, spring highlights. Sorry, I have to find this now. I know Corey's probably right, but I can't let it go. Cannot let it go. That was from 2009. Anyhow, so yeah, they're back. Hopefully, figure this thing out. Start winning some more series, stacking some wins. Because it's crazy. I mean, Meat was pointing out, I think Friday, they're in the high 30s when it comes to RPI, and he's got like no idea what the committee's going to be looking for when it comes to picking teams in the postseason. So,
I thought it was even higher than that. I thought like he and Florida both were like in the 50s.
Oh,
but then Florida took 2 or 3 from Ole Miss, who was number 3 in the country. So I know Florida State fans don't like that because the Gators are winning, but it does help the RPI because you beat them once.
Nonetheless, though, it is game week after all, Corey. It's a spring game, 5 p.m. Are we going to get Coach Cameron on the program? Can we get Coach Cameron on the program?
That would be something. I can't wait. I can't wait to see what plays that he dials up. He and Gene Deckerhoff are they're the
local
celebrity
legends?
coaches
The local
for
legends?
one of the spring teams, one of the Florida State sides, Garnet or Gold, and then who are the other 2? ESPN writers, right? Andrea Adelson and
and then Staples, but Andy Staples, but he's athletic, I think. He used to be Sports Illustrated, maybe he's Sports Illustrated. No, one of the others.
I mean, I just don't think because I just looked it up. So they played Miami that year in 08, like April 18th, 20th.
Yeah,
that would be pretty late for a spring game.
All right, fine.
Late April, just throwing. And I was right. It was 11-10. They lost 11-10 in that last game, and then the bench is cleared.
Good for you, Corey. Good for you. Figured it.
I did it, buddy. That was a fun team, man. Buster, that was a season that if you were around living in Tallahassee or obviously just a Florida State fan, I know it didn't end well because every season ends in Omaha, but doesn't end well. But that was a really fun team to cover, man.
All right, so is that your way of saying you really don't want to talk about the spring game yet? You don't want to preview it? You don't want to talk about things to look for? Will anything change, Corey? Will the narrative change? The narrative right now is that Jordan Travis is doing better than Mackenzie Milton. If Mackenzie Milton performs better in the spring game, is all of that pretty much wiped out and it becomes moot? At least in terms of the people that listen to us. Yeah?
Yep. Because it'll be like, okay, great, you can do well in practice, but when it matters, not that a spring game matters, but for our intents and purposes it does, when you're for fans that are trying to judge who's winning the battle, if somebody's significantly better or look significantly better in the spring game, I don't think that the 13 practices before it are going to matter much to the people that, and look, also, whoever's in that stadium, other than the coaches, none of your opinions matter. But for the perception, for the narrative,
be nice.
Well, I'm not, as far as who plays, like they're not going to do a fan poll. But I think for the perception of who's winning the quarterback battle or who's going to be the quarterback, I think that narrative can get shifted quite a bit with Milton having a good Saturday and Travis not as good, But who's to say that's going to happen? But I think for our purposes, yes, I think because that does matter. I do think, I don't think you can just eliminate the first 3 weeks of spring practice and say they don't matter, because of course they do. But it also matters how you do it with people in the stands in a game type setting. Do you raise your level at all? Do you shrink in the moment? And I've never seen anything from Jordan Travis that would say he'd shrink in the moment. Certainly haven't seen anything from Mackenzie Milton. But either way, I mean, it does matter how you do. I do think they put stock into it, more stock than they do a random Tuesday practice in March. But I also don't think it's like a career killer or a career definer. It's just one goofy, not even normal type spring game. How long do you think it's going to last, Aslan? Like an hour?
Well, it is on ACC Network or the ACC Network Extra thing, so it's going to have some semblance of format so they can plug in commercials and things. They're going to play a half, like an hour and a half, maybe 90 minutes. Maybe they'll do something funny between the first and second quarters, like maybe bring out Deckerhoff and Jeff Cameron, maybe do like a tug of war or something between Adelson and Staples,
right.
to determine who gets the ball second half or second quarter. Although it'll be stop play at the second, between quarters. Yeah, this is crazy. I do wonder ultimately, maybe we'll ask Norvell when we speak to him later this week. I think they're back on a Tuesday, Thursday schedule. I know we were able to get out there one more time and watch practice this week before the spring jamboree. Hate to call it a game. Maybe we'll find out why. I don't know. Is it a health thing they didn't go with a full game, or did they have the option? ACC network like, hey, you don't have to do a whole game if you don't want, and they're like, sold, because they are going to practice after. They get 15 practices, and I think Saban's the guy that started doing it, where he's like, our spring game's not going to be the finale after all. We're going to come back and clean everything up and have one final practice. So maybe that's why they're going to keep. Yeah,
that's how Jimbo would do it too. Like you want to make the corrections off an actual game in quotes, and then see if you can make those adjustments the next practice too. So that I don't know if Saban. Yeah. That would make sense that Saban started it and Jimbo followed it.
What I do hope, though, is that there's consistent play around them in those moments. Like I hope like Travis doesn't get hit with drops from his receivers while Milton does, or vice versa, because then it's gonna be like, well, Milton was 9 of 15, but he had 3 drops, and nobody dropped on Jordan Travis. So that whole kind of quibbling over, that sort of stuff. So I hope there's a clear winner to the game. I hope there's a quarterback that really does perform better than the other. Although I don't know, maybe most people that are listening to this want to see both of them do great, though, I guess.
I think so. Yeah, I really do. I think it's best for everybody if they both play well. But I don't know that people are really going to put a ton of stock into the stats, right? I think it'll be because they're not going to be playing with the same players, offensive line. It's really how they look, right? Like you said, I don't think if Jordan Travis goes 4 of 11 but had 3 drops, or was running for his life and had to throw 2 or 3 of those incompletions are just throwaways, I don't know that people will be like, hold that against him. Milton obviously had the better game. I think if you watch it, you get to make – that's the beauty of this. That's really the beauty of everything being open, is you get to make up your own mind. You get to make your own opinions on actual your own eyesight, as opposed to a stat line or a box score or somebody telling you, yeah, McKenzie played pretty well. You actually get to see it for yourself. So I think that's cool. And then hey, maybe Rodemaker comes out slinging it around, throwing darts everywhere.
Well, I get your folks are probably going to see a lot of him if they keep up what they've been doing in the scrimmages before this. Is they go first team. Usually Travis goes with the first team. Then they run the second team out, and it's Rodemaker. Then they bring out the ones again, but this time it's Milton's turn. Then they'll go back to the 2, so it's Rodemaker again. Then they'll throw the ones back out there. Now it's Jordan's turn. So, like, for every time you see Jordan Travis, you'll see Tate Rodemaker twice. Every time you see, for every rep those guys take with the ones, Rodemaker's getting 2 with the 2s. So probably do prepare yourself for maybe seeing more of that. Although who knows, maybe with this game format they're trying to do with these guest coaches. They'll give them more run with the ones. But yeah, I think everything's going to be hyper scrutinized because it's Florida State football. Man, everybody cares so much about it. And it's quarterbacks. It's the most glamour, alluring position in all of team sports. So yeah, I mean, if it's one of those things where Mackenzie Milton's constantly running for his life, I don't know how much of it's going to be, the offensive line's not doing their job. Some people are going to say it's that, and then some people are like, well, he's not seeing the field, he's not getting the ball out on time. So I'm looking forward to it. Really, I'm looking forward to how everyone's going to digest that game if it is so kind of nip and tuck the whole way. I kind of want to see one guy win because I just want clarity. I want us to be talking in August and just knowing who it's going to be. Although I guess
there's no way we're getting that though, right? You don't foresee that happening. Like even if Milton goes 14 for 14, we might say he has a leg up or that gave him a good shot, but we don't. We also know what happened the first 12 or 13 practices. At least half of them that we got to watch, that you got to watch, or I did, or Ira. I just don't think anything's cemented, even with an incredible performance by Milton. Now that would really help, but I still don't think it's cemented if he goes out and doesn't look great in August. Like I just don't foresee it like a Jameis thing, right?
Yeah,
like that. I think it's going to go into unless injuries happen, it's going to go into I think the final 7 to 10 days, maybe up till the final day before Notre Dame, till we know for sure who the quarterback's going to be.
I'm sure I got plenty of questions for the Renegade Express about it, so I'll be like, what are you guys looking for? So I think quarterbacks probably want to see Jermaine Johnson do something. Like, what would be like the third thing you would want to see, Corey? Or like it would be a harbinger or like a good barometer of where this team is at. Like you want to see the freshman receivers go up and make some plays one-on-one, or do you want to see the cornerbacks make plays on the ball and pick off some passes, create some turnovers?
Yeah, I mean, I think what they need is you're obviously going to need what would be best for everyone is if the defense really looks really good. But I know that people don't want to see an ugly 13-9 spring game. They want to see points and touchdowns and everything else. But if the defense looks ferocious-ish, has some ferocity, and like you said, turns it over, gets some turnovers, yeah, I think that would be a really good sign. The next one after that, right, would be the freshman receivers actually making plays. Anybody really, but especially the young guys going out and making plays in an environment like that, seeing who steps up in that environment, whether they score or not, they get open, they look dynamic. That would be really fun to see, really good to see because they haven't had a lot of that, as we all know. It's been well documented on this show. They haven't had a lot of that, but that's the thing of the spring game. I'm going to keep saying it. Great, the receivers look good. Well, then what's wrong with the DBs? Or the DBs had 3 picks. Oh, God, the quarterbacks are terrible. Jermaine Johnson looks unblockable. We can't block. That's how spring games work. So you just hope you see some dudes, man, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's one side of the ball or the other side of the ball, see some dudes that you can pinpoint and say, that guy looks like he could play on Sundays. That I wasn't for sure, but he looks like he's taken a big step up in the last 5 months or since he's been here. I think that's more than anything maybe what you look for.
Well said. Well said.
Thanks, buddy.
The thing I will say, though, about wanting to see this defense do well, I think the problem there is that you're going to kind of wonder, well, where did this all come from out of nowhere? Because the only really new piece you're going to see out there, I think, at least running with the ones, is going to be Jermaine Johnson and Jamie Robinson. Because I don't think Kier Thomas is going to be out there. He hasn't been out there in any of the previous practices or scrimmages. Mako Dotson's still a guy that hasn't been performing, hasn't been out there practicing. Renardo Green's been kind of in and out. So you're going to be running out pretty much everybody from the 2020 defense that was not very sturdy, with the subtraction of 2 6'5", 6'6", 270-pound defensive ends, who again did not produce all that well, admittedly, but still have some kind of potential to play pro football buzz around them. So I think that's, if the defense does come out, that's why I think I want to see the offense do well. Because if the defense all of a sudden just starts shutting them down, it's going to be, well, where did this come from? It would be hard for me to believe that the team that allowed 30-plus points by Duke in December, all of a sudden now in April, early April, somehow everything got figured out. Now, and granted, then they also had to change the scheme too, so you figure there'd still be some kind of growing pains and a learning curve in that. That's why I want to see the offense do well, because that would just
but I mean, understand mesh. We know that ain't nothing all going to be figured out. Like we know what your hope here is they make a significant leap, but we know it's not going to be a good defense. It's not. You just can't. You can't go from god awful to good. You can go from god awful to and that's what you need. You need I've said it before. You need to go from 09 to 010. The 2010 Florida State defense was nothing special. Certainly not by Florida State standards. But it was a lot better than the 09 defense, and it kept them in some games. You know, if they could take that kind of leap from just awful to okay, that would be a good sign. And you just don't want dudes running wide open. You don't want 3 70-yard touchdowns. You don't want guys falling all over themselves trying to guard people. Compete. Make some plays. Be physical. Create a couple turnovers, or at least create the potential for a couple turnovers, and go from there. I don't know. Are you even going to count, like, other than Jermaine Johnson just beating a dude in a flash? It's hard to even count sacks in the spring game because they whistle it every time you get near a quarterback. Yeah, I remember one game, Florida State, I feel like were credited with like 11 sacks, and I wonder maybe 4 of them would have been actual sacks. So that's going to be hard too. But again, that's the eye of the beholder, and that's also what we can watch. You can tell if a team has a good pass rush, even if they aren't picking up the quarterback and slamming him on his head. You can still tell, okay, they're getting a rush, they're getting a push. So that's another thing to look for.
And hopefully maybe all coming from one side. Like, I don't want to see like the left end, the right end, like pressuring up the middle, because then it's like, all right, man, we got leaks everywhere. But if it's just like one side of the line that's not holding up, it's like, okay, that's fine. Because Devontae Love,
you're like, okay, we can't block Jermaine Johnson.
Yeah.
Okay, we got it. We figured it out. We diagnosed the problem. We can't block that dude. But just wait till that portal, somebody hits that portal.
Man, we're hoping. That portal is not the portal used to be a real fun follow on Twitter. It is now, there's like a boulevard of broken dreams. It's sad. It's guys leaving like low-end group of 5 schools and like getting retweeted for saying, so excited to get an offer from Northwestern Iowa Community College. It's like, oh, man.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. And you look up, it's like former 2019 4-star, played in 2 games last year, caught 1 pass for 6 yards. It's like, oh, that's a difference maker.
Right.
You know, you see that. You see it in basketball too. I mean, basketball, it's out of control. It's unbelievable, the portal. Yeah. You know that Kessler kid from North Carolina bounced or put his name in the portal?
Really?
The
big?
I was going to describe him as the big white kid.
Yeah.
But yes, the 7-foot freshman that killed Florida State that one game. He put his name in the portal, and then like a day later, Roy Williams, like, yeah, I'm done with this. Literally it was 2 days later, I think he called it quits. I don't necessarily think Walker Kessler had anything to do with it, but yeah, that transfer portal is out of control. Speaking of, we do need to, I guess, touch on a little bit because it happened on Friday, right? That RaiQuan Gray announced for the draft.
Oh yeah, look at that! I was getting exhausted. That was a lot of football in April with like 4 days of nothing going on.
Oh, we still got 4 days left for this spring game.
Yeah, but we got some stuff. We at least got a coach that we're going to talk to. We're going to be able to watch a practice. So I can talk about it. Then, like I said, I love talking about football, but yeah, I get it. Everyone wants to know what's going on with the spring game. But hey,
which practice can we watch? Which day is that?
April 8th, I think, is what it is. I think, is that a Thursday?
Yeah,
that one.
Okay,
that one. Yeah, man. I don't know. From now on, when we talk about these guys, is he coming back? Is he not coming back? They're leaving. Like Cabangeli left, Vassell left, RaiQuan Gray left. And it's nothing against this program. Everybody loves it. Everybody loves Ham. But man, when it's a coin flip on these guys, they gone. They're leaving.
Yeah, the last one that was we say that like, you know, Dwayne Bacon did come back. He put his name in the draft and then came back for his sophomore year. I think XRM, people were wondering about him. He came back. But yeah, I think again, it's not 100% done because he, you know, I couldn't imagine unless RaiQuan Gray. Obviously, for the people that don't know, he did announce on Friday that he was pursuing his dream of going to the NBA, which we all root for him and wish him the best. I have looked at, and they're on the internet, so I take them with a grain of salt, I promise. And they are hearing from NBA teams about RaiQuan Gray. I know that for a fact. But he's not on any mock draft that I saw, not one. And they go to, I'm not talking about the first round, they go to pick 60. That does not mean that RaiQuan Gray won't be drafted. But when I was thinking about that, I'm like, you know what? I bet Terrence Mann wasn't on any mock drafts either before the draft. And no, yeah, he was. He was in the 30s on 2 of them. RaiQuan Gray, I haven't seen his name at all. That does not mean he won't be drafted. But it does mean it's not a guarantee. and it's certainly not a guarantee that he's a first-round pick. Now, he might just want to do the Trent Forrest. Like, Trent Forrest wasn't drafted, and he's made a pretty decent living this year, going back and forth between the NBA and the G League. So the G League does present guys that option. Like, the undrafted kids still have a chance in the G League to prove themselves and to hook on with a team and go back and forth. And if you believe in yourself, you believe in yourself. And if you're ready to start your journey, go for it. I do think, I just hope for my own sake that he hasn't signed with an agent, because there is a chance every NBA team would be like, no, man, I don't think that would happen. But he has until like late June to say that he's coming back.
Can you? I thought you could sign with an agent now and still back out.
That might be. They might have even changed that. Yeah, I think the deadline to return to announce your withdrawal is like July 14th, and the draft is July 29th. So we got 2 months. I assume now that he wouldn't release that on IG and on Twitter to then come back 3 days later. So I would say you lean quite heavily towards him staying, but I just hope he gets the right information and that he's not twisting in the wind and doesn't have a home next year, where he could have been coming. He could have improved his stock. He also could have been on one of the best teams in the country, but he's also been here 4 years. He graduates, or he has graduated. He is graduating soon if he hasn't already. I don't think they've had graduation yet, have they, at Florida State for this year?
No, it's close, though, man. It's crazy.
That's coming up. So he is set to graduate. He's been here 4 years. He played for 3, started for 2. He had a great career, a good career. And, yeah, you wish him the best. But, that was I don't think it was completely unexpected, but, man, it would have been nice for Florida. For Leonard one time, right, to be like, you know what, come back. Scotty, you come back. Hey, you know what, Scotty still hasn't announced. Maybe he's coming. Maybe he's rethinking things. Maybe he wants to come back and play a different position next year.
Yeah, it says, this is off Wikipedia, but it is pulling off the NCAA's website, but I'm on the NCAA's website, can't find it, but it does say he can sign with any agent, not RaiQuan, the royal he, can sign with any agent following an evaluation from the NBA Undergraduate Advisory Committee, and if he ends up undrafted, has the opportunity to return to his school for at least another year, only after terminating all agreements with that agent, effective with the 2019 draft. Until 2018, college players lost their eligibility once they signed with their agent and stayed in the draft, only to be left undrafted.
Oh, all right, okay.
That's the way it should be. Should be NFL. It's like, no, Roger, do it. Come on.
Absolutely. It's ridiculous. Like, whose interest are we looking out for, man? They're trying to make a living. They're trying to make a career out of it. They don't get drafted. They might be left with nowhere to go. Let them come back to school. It doesn't. Who are you hurting? Who's getting hurt if, like, and I know Travis Rudolph played in the league, but he's just the first name that came to my mind about somebody leaving early and then going undrafted.
Jalen Wilkerson.
Well, yeah, but Travis Rudolph was an actual player. Like,
I thought
you know what I mean? Like, he actually
that did that. Sorry.
He actually did things.
Yeah.
So, like, who gets hurt if Travis Rudolph doesn't get drafted and says, I want to go back to Florida State? Why wouldn't you? Why are you punishing the kid? He tried. He followed his dream. He wasn't drafted. Let him go back. He still gets to go to school. He still gets his school paid for, or he gets to play football, and maybe the next year he does get drafted. It just seems so punitive for no reason. Okay, how much money is Travis Rudolph taken from an agent? Or Jalen Wilkerson? If an agent's dumb enough to give Jalen Wilkerson upfront money that he thinks he's going to get paid back when he signs his NFL contract, that agent doesn't deserve to get paid back. I mean, you're burning money at that point. So hopefully that will be something that just becomes part of the norm for college sports. That's weird, man. It's just odd how when I see it on Twitter, these guys declare for the draft, and John Rothstein, the guy for CBS Sports, will be like, and he hasn't signed with an agent, so he still keeps his eligibility. It's like, well, why does he keep tweeting that if that's not the case? Or why would they even have a deadline to pull out of the draft if then you can go undrafted and go back to school?
Good questions. I don't have the answers.
Hey, right. I ask good questions. I don't ever have the answers, but sometimes I ask good questions. Either way, chances are RaiQuan's probably gone. Scotty is almost certainly gone. MJ's gone. You got a lot of good players coming in, though.
All right, 2 big picture questions.
And real quick, though, Aslan, and the portal is wide the F open, baby. There's got to be another big dude out there that can come play for Florida State. I mean, there's literally every team is losing 4 guys.
Yeah.
So maybe there's a guy that can fill right in for RaiQuan Gray.
Well, Malik Osborne's probably going to stay now. Caleb Mills, he's here, ready to go.
Yeah.
And all these other young hot shots. So let's run it back. Let's keep going.
Maybe the Hunter Dickinson kid. He almost signed with Florida State.
Yeah.
Maybe he decides, you know what? That was a mistake. I like the way those guys competed when I played against them. I'm going to Tallahassee.
All right, so what I was going to ask, because I'm still trying to find, you're knocking me off my path, knocking me off my course.
That's what I do.
I can't deal well with adversity. I'm like trying to go and look here because it's like, what does it mean? Can he come back? I'm looking on the NCAA's website. Just say it. Like, why can't you just say it? I can't see it. So the tournament, obviously, the UCLA game was awesome. UCLA had, pretty much no business even being in the tournament. They were in the part of the first four. And we're talking about all these sort of, the power of the student athlete is getting ever more stronger. The outcry, and everybody's rallying around, the student athletes and wanting to compensate them and all this kind of stuff. I was, and obviously with one and done going in the NCAA basketball, and that's not the case with football. But at some point, I think it's going to happen. At some point, it's going to happen where even collegiate football players are going to be able to go one and done because they probably have a better argument for it. Because their earning window is much smaller than guys in the NBA.
Correct.
Heck, Charlie Ward, how long was he in the NBA getting a paycheck? So there's going to be a certain point where you're going to be able to go one and done in college football. Some people are like, well, you're not physically ready for it. Yeah, maybe. I wonder if that does come to pass, which, again, who knows if it will. I think it's going to happen, but not in any time in the immediate future. If that comes to pass, will that bring more parity in some weird way, Corey? I don't know. I was kind of thinking about it in my head. Although I imagine, in 2012, if that was the case, you could go one and done. Jimbo probably feels the pressure to play Jameis, or Jameis doesn't even come here, obviously, right? Because E.J. Manuel's here. Because I'm just trying to think of ways, because I know everybody watches the basketball tournament, and they're like, why don't they do that with college football? Expand the football playoff. Make it 16 teams. And it's like, because I don't want to see 4 other trash games. I don't want to see Alabama play the number 16 team. I just don't. I don't want to see the 2 team play the 15 team in college football. I don't. It's not going to happen. Like the way UCLA came and surprised Gonzaga, it won't happen. It will not happen when it comes to college football. So would you have to recruit a different way? Like if Mike Norvell's still here and that comes to pass, is he well positioned? Can you build program guys the way that Leonard has and do that like in football? And maybe if your guys aren't these hot shot 5-star guys that are just built like Adonis when they're 19 years old so they can go right to the NFL, would that be a way to create – would that somehow have an unintended consequence of creating parity by doing one-and-dones in football?
Yeah, it's weird. I can't remember. Was it the USC kid filed a lawsuit? This is Mike Williams, I want to say, the receiver.
Yeah.
And I feel like this was in the heart of it, 15 years ago when USC was awesome. He filed a lawsuit saying it was unconstitutional for him not to be able to go pro when he wanted. A court agreed with it, so he was declared eligible, all freshmen are eligible. It was after his freshman year. There was somebody else that got caught up in it too. Maybe Claret.
It was.
Claret was in it too.
Yeah.
And so they think they're following the rules because they've been told by a court that they can go prepare for the NFL draft. They declare for the NFL draft. Then another court overrules it and says no, they can't. It's the NFL rule. No, the NFL has a right to have an age limit. You're not allowed in. And then those guys were ineligible to go back to college because they had started making plans to be. Again, that's what's so bothersome about the NCAA, man. They're not. Why would you tell Maurice Claret and Mike Williams they can't go back to college when they declared for the NFL draft and started working with an agent? It was under the rule. They were doing it by the rules. And then anyway, I don't know why I'm litigating something that was 15 years ago, but that angers me. But yeah, I can see what you're saying. Alabama would lose, certainly be on pace to lose more players per year than anybody else. The Alabamas and Georgias of the world. So
Clemson,
maybe it would.
Trevor Lawrence is gone. Right?
Look, it
Trevor
makes
Lawrence
it
is
even
gone after 18. Trevor,
sure,
18.
Yeah,
right,
he's done.
He's gone. Yeah.
And that's the thing, you look at Kentucky and Duke always have the best players. Maybe not this year, but even their great years. The Zion year. Yeah. The Zion year, they almost lost in the second round to UCF. Literally, they were an inch away. And then they're all gone. And he has to re-up and regroup and restack a whole nother roster. That stuff, if Zion had to stay till he was a junior and R.J. Barrett and Cam Reddish stayed till they were juniors, yeah, Duke would have won 2 in a row probably. But that evens the playing field when your juniors and seniors get to go up against those really, really skilled freshmen. Because it's just a different form of basketball. They haven't really played a lot. So I could see that. I just don't know if it hasn't happened now. You're right, though. The way just the way the wind is blowing when it comes to college athletics, it probably is something that will be looked at again. And whoever has to make that rule with the NFL, they might say it's okay. You can come now when you're 20. You don't have to be 21 now to play NFL football anymore.
All right, just a thought.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, but yeah, it would certainly. Alabama, yeah, they'd be stacking up with 5 stars, but they wouldn't have, like when they lose a Dylan Moses, they wouldn't have some dude right behind them that's another 5-star that's gotten to learn the system for a year. Now he's a true freshman that's thrown right into the mix, and as good as name any of their guys. As good as they are as freshmen on the offensive line, they won't be getting to go up against a 5-star freshman offensive lineman is a heck of a lot better than going up against a 5-star junior offensive lineman. You just have a better chance. So I think it would even the playing field a little bit. Not enough to make a huge difference, but it would even the playing field.
I just want to be back, Corey. I just want to be back covering. I just want to be in big events again, man.
Hey, man, you're paying attention to these recruiting rankings. It's starting to come for real. It'd be nice if they won some games this year, but I don't assume it. I don't proclaim it because we don't know for sure. How could we? You just start to get a feeling that this guy knows what he's doing, and I think he's got him on the right track. He is not blessed with an overly talented roster right now, but I feel like he's got with the way the transfer market went and then the way the recruiting rankings are going, you just get the sense that once everything is unleashed and they can actually have an open recruiting period that won't be dead, it'll be live recruiting. You just get the sense that he's got this thing in the right direction. But who knows? Probably just being a homer.
I think like 70 guys are confirmed to be coming to campus for this game, and some of them are on commit watch. Go to the premium recruiting board, warchant.com, to see which players are on commit watch, which means possibly, likely, maybe, potentially committing on the spot for this weekend. Still wonder how these guys, I guess, they can pay their own way and then just pay to come into the stadium. It's $10. Yeah. See, I don't think they can give them a free pass to get into it's a dead period. You're not supposed to be able to do. You're not supposed to be able to communicate with these guys, or at least do the whole campus visit and all that kind of stuff.
But guys, let me say this: if you are coming to the spring game and you happen to see one of these recruits, beg them to come to Florida State. Right?
If you're under the age of 35,
right?
If you're under the age of 35, you can beg
35 is the cutoff.
I think.
What
so.
if you're like a young 38?
No, I wouldn't do it.
Okay, I feel like 35 is a little too old. I'll be honest with you. I think you got to be in your 20s.
It's like ages 35 to 50. Probably don't do it. Maybe 35 to 55.
Yeah, that's right. But if you're over 50, certainly if you're over 60,
yes,
go for it.
Absolutely,
you're allowed to do it. Yeah, is this arm ready to throw for 2,000? You get to do that.
Yeah, you can be.
And then obviously, if you're 20s, if you have grandkids, you're allowed to. You could actually have your grandkid go up to the recruit.
Okay.
And say, why don't you come? I think that helps. And if you're a dad, you're 39 or you're my age and you have a 12-year-old, don't talk to the kid. Don't talk to the recruit. Have your 12-year-old go talk to the kid.
There you go. You're my favorite
That's
recruit.
not nearly as creepy.
Yeah, but you're my favorite recruit. Will you sign this? Yeah, that'll send the kid over the moon.
Perfect.
I like it.
Perfect. Can you take a picture? Yeah.
By the way, Corey, I wanted to give you just a little space to take a victory lap on being the Coracle. I don't know if it did it make it to air? It made it to air last week when we were talking about the age of these coaches. And then I think when we were arguing about the stadium, which is a great segment that'll never see the air. The whole Roy Williams thing, man, look at you. Anything else you see in the future? You called ACC basketball coaches maybe being a little bit long in the tooth, and then Roy's like, all right, I get it, Corey. I get it. All right, I'm done.
Yeah.
Do you foresee anything else? Coracle got any other
bold
predictions?
He was only the 4th oldest. He's like 71. Boeheim's 77 or 78 years old, man. Leonard's 73, looking like he's 40. Krzyzewski doing whatever he does to that hair.
Vampire.
He's in his early 70s. I mean, these guys are My mom's like 78. My mom's Jim Boeheim's age. That's nuts. It's
is
nuts
not-
to think about my mom standing up for 2.5 hours
yelling
at kids.
Yeah.
It's just crazy to think about.
But, they're not fragile, though. I mean, I will say,
No.
Jim Boeheim is still spry. So's Kay. I thought Roy was as well. And obviously Leonard. I mean, Leonard, shoot.
Except he ruptured that Achilles though. So,
yeah.
But yeah, man, like hey, man, 70 is the new 50.
I guess.
Like the way my mom's not losing steam. I don't know what's going on, but people seem to be healthier longer in our country. Pandemic notwithstanding.
Yeah.
Seem to be healthier longer in our country. So yeah, man, maybe Boeheim's gonna coach till he's 90, and Leonard will coach till he's 80. I mean, that's stuff that's not. That'd just be unheard of.
I want to see Boeheim coach his grandkid.
That would have been John Wooden. John Wooden retired, I think, when he was like 60. John Wooden could have coached until the 2000s. It's still not been Boeheim's age.
I want to see him coach a grandson. It's so awesome that Buddy Boeheim is like however old Buddy Boeheim is. And then you look at how old Jim Boeheim is, and it gives me hope. Thanks, Jim. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, good work.
All right, we're done for the day. We'll be having football observations later this week.
We're not done until you mention beach volleyball.
Oh, well, actually, yeah, you're right. Well, first off, shout out softball team. Softball taking care of business. 4-game sweep over Notre Dame. 2 of them via the run rule. So Lonnie's got that thing chugging along per usual.
What's crazy about the softball team, I just looked it up because I keep looking at their scores. You remember the last few years, they were bludgeoning teams.
Yeah.
The games will be like 13-1, 12-2. I mean, and this year I looked it up. They've played 30 games this year, and they've only hit 17 home runs. And so the opponents have hit 13 home runs. So, they're not really doing much different than the opponents. They're not a power hitting team, even though they got a lot of players that have played in this program. But then I look at the stolen bases. They have 63 stolen bases this year. Their opponents have 8.
Jeez.
That's crazy, right?
Discrepancy, yeah. I like it.
Yeah, that's a little bit different. Like they've scored 152 runs and given up 59. They've got 179 hits, given up 144. Like everything is kind of similar. They're better than their opponents, but not by a staggering margin, except for stolen bases. 63 out of 70, and their opponents are 8 out of 11. So yeah, keep it up. I like that Lonnie can change it up. They don't always have to be the Bash sisters.
Very adaptive.
They can be like the 85 Cardinals.
Yeah, very adaptive over there. I like them. I like them a lot. I think they're actually at home this weekend too. So I think.
There you go. All right. Well, I can go check some of the.
Go watch the spring. Go watch them play Duke at 2 p.m. on Saturday. Then make your way over to Doak Campbell, folks. You can walk. Yeah, you can walk. It'll be a nice brisk walk. I don't know. Let me see the 10-day. Let me see what the 10-day says for the weather. It's starting to heat back up in Tallahassee. I think we had our last. Old man Winter, I think, had his last gasp this past weekend.
Good.
Saturday calls for scattered thunderstorms, 60%, high of 81, low of 63. So, yeah, it's summertime in Tallahassee.
High 70s probably. All right. Okay.
So, do bring it on.
So the softball team is they're 24-6 overall and 12-2 in the league. So typical, just Lonnie doing what Lonnie does. Building even if they're not hitting 1,000 home runs, they're still finding ways to win.
Meanwhile, beach volleyball walked into the Lions' Den, number 1 Southern Cal, Los Angeles, and split with them on Saturday. Lost the first match, 4-1, rally right back, win a nail biter, 3-2. That's awesome.
Yeah, that was USC's first. That was USC's first loss. It was both of their first losses of the year.
Yeah, 85 Dolphins can breathe easy. Perfect fill.
Right. Yep.
Stays.
Not 85 Dolphins. The 72 Dolphins.
72. Did I say 85 Dolphins?
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, 72.
You may have been the 85 Bears. The 85 Dolphins knocked out off the 85 Bears to keep them from going undefeated.
Yeah, Monday Night
I see
Football.
where your mind is. I see how you're working.
Yeah. Sunday they played number 4 UCLA. Did not work out in favor of the Seminoles. UCLA won both those matches. First one 4-1. Second one 3-2. But hey, man, they had to go all the way over 3 different time zones. Play on their sand. Can't undervalue that.
But it's good for them because that's probably who they're going to play when it matters. And now win or lose, you don't want to peak too early. Number one, you know what you have to work on, but you're probably going to play one or both of those teams. They'll be in your way to a national championship, so you might as well play them in late March, early April.
Yeah, They're also at home this weekend. Unconquered Invitational. They're playing Stetson at 3 p.m. on Saturday. Maybe grab some softball first couple innings. Maybe they'll run rule it early. Lonnie, do it. Let everybody.
Could you watch both from that little knoll, the grassy knoll there? I feel like you could watch both. You could be in the middle and kind of keep an eye on both.
So is that sand pit, that the net and everything next to that parking garage? That's where they play their games?
Well, it's off in the distance. It's not right there. It's a little behind the parking garage. But yeah, you can see it from when we're walking to the stadium. So yeah, you could see both.
Yes.
By the way, so we're watching. I know that people are not listening anymore, but if you are. We're recording this while the women's championship game is going on. By the way, those were great Final Four games, the women's championship game. But I'm watching Stanford has a 4-point lead with 2 minutes left. Ooh. And what's crazy about it, win or lose, we're not going to stay and watch the rest of this, but Tara Vandiver, the coach at Stanford, she won a national title in 1992, and that was her last one.
Kept her around,
And now she's 2 minutes away, 120 seconds away from winning another one. I'm not trying to jinx her. But can you ever recall somebody going almost 30 years in between championships? I mean, that's got to be a record.
Dean Smith, he went a long time, I think, between 93 and whenever he won the one prior.
No, that was 82. It was Jordan. So he went like 11 years. So Jordan, he won one with Jordan in 82 on the jump shot by Jordan, and then he won the one on the timeout by Weber in 92 or 93 or whatever that was.
Yeah, you're right.
But that was it. But like, for one coach, even to just be at a school for 29 years and to be at a school capable of winning one in 1990 and 2021 is just remarkable. I mean, that's crazy. I've never heard of it. There's got to be somebody I'm not thinking of.
It's all your fault. You brought up. We were out of here. We were out of this show.
Sorry, we're done.
15 minutes ago.
Congrats to Tara Vandiver for. I'm not trying to jinx you, but winning a title 30 years after your last one is. It'd be like. It's like Tiger Woods winning the Masters in 2046. It's just unheard of. But hey, congratulations if you actually did win it.
It's definitely not going to be college football. An article from the 2015 Oklahoman: Bob Stoops could become college football coach with longest gap between titles.
Yeah, like what, 14 years?
Yeah. So.
Yeah, so it ain't college football. I would think baseball maybe, but nothing's coming off the top of my head.
I was gonna think maybe I can't think of that's 1-2 in basketball. It's got a long gap, but then again, I mean the guys that the coaches that have won multiple championships in baseball, like those guys, it was like Ron Dito or whatever, like at Southern Cal.
Dido, yeah. USC, yeah, he won a ton of them, like in a row or close to it.
And whoever's at Arizona, I think they went. Like they always go on runs when they win those things. It's not like these long gaps. But yeah, that's something good to think about. Maybe I'll research. I'm sure somebody out there will tweet it at us or email us and let us know.
Sure, please let us know.
And it's going to be like a Division II coach, which doesn't count. Keep it in the main sports.
Sure it counts. I'll say it counts. But also just, know that I did not jinx Tara Vandiver, even if they end up losing this game. It was going to happen whether I said they were going to win or not.
Okay, well said. All right, we're done on the podcast. We're still working for you off air over on Warchant.com, the ultimate Seminoles sports source. Use the promo code Warchant30 to become part of the family. Spring game 5 o'clock Saturday, but we'll have plenty of shows between now and then, including a live one. He's Corey. I'm Aslan. You've been listening to Wake Up Warchant, which is fueled by DeLuna Coffee. Have a great day, everybody.
Warchant.com is the ultimate inside source for FSU football and recruiting. And now you can get in on the action for free for an entire month. Warchant.com is offering a risk-free 30-day trial subscription. Get full access to the #1 website covering the Seminoles just by entering the promo code Warchant30. That's Warchant30. Sign up and get in on the world's most active FSU message boards. Receive breaking news, stories from our award-winning staff, plus get exclusive interviews and videos. Just enter the promo code Warchant30. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source.